breaking tonight. Failed presidential candidate and oligarch Michael Bloomberg using some of his money, very little of his money, to buy influence in the 2020 election. Bloomberg, raising $20 million. That was probably just simply a cough into the ATM to help felons regain their voting rights in the state of Florida. Bloomberg has already done so for 32,000 felons in the crucial battleground state. Well, the Justice Department blocking senior Department of Justice officials from testifying before Gerald Nadler's House Judiciary Committee. The Assistant Attorney General, Stephen Boyd, told Nadler that the committee squandered its opportunity to talk with the Attorney General and ask more questions because of the way the Democrats treated Attorney General William Barr at that hearing in July. It was an abject disgrace. Well, joining us tonight, Congressman Matt Gaetz, member of the House Judiciary and Armed Services Committees. He's also, he's an author as well and has a new book out today, which means it's a great book, because they wait for this day to publish great books. It's called Firebrand, Dispatches from the Front Lines of the MAGA Revolution. We recommend it to you highly. And congratulations, Congressman Matt Gaetz, on the publication of the book. Great to have you with us. Let's turn to Judiciary, Gerald Nadler, because there was nothing civil or respectful about the way the Democrats on that committee treated the Attorney General. I wouldn't have blamed him if he had opened an investigation on every one of them as Attorney General. It was disgusting what they did to him. Great to see you.
Absolutely. Well, it is frustrating after 3 years of Nancy Pelosi crowing about how Donald Trump was doing great violence to our institutions to now see the Democrats threatening impeachment to try to procedurally jam the Senate to stop them from fulfilling their constitutional obligation to advise and consent on the president's selection for the Supreme Court. And so, of course, the administration is not going to participate in this game of Red Rover where they send officials over not for legitimate oversight or questioning, but just to try to create a procedural setup to stop the country from doing its important business. And I'm glad you mentioned Mike Bloomberg's efforts in Florida, because I will be calling on the Florida Attorney General to launch an investigation into Mike Bloomberg for potentially engaging in bribery and vote buying in the state of Florida. Here's how that works, Lou. In Florida, you only get to vote if you're a convicted felon, if all of your court costs, fines, fees, and restitution are paid off. And so what Michael Bloomberg is doing is creating a politically motivated way to retire the debts of these felons in exchange for their votes. And it's not every felon, it's just those which they have specifically identified as the Biden voters. And so again, that's offering a bribe, an inducement for someone to behave a certain way in voting. I think it's potentially criminal. It's probably the worst waste of money for Michael Bloomberg since he was a failed presidential candidate.
Did he even rise to the level of failed presidential candidate? Did he show up on whatever graph of support?
Remember, they changed the rules to let him into debates. I mean, Michael Bloomberg was engaged in a leveraged buyout of the Democratic Party. He didn't meet the rules, but he got on the debate stage anyway, and he probably regretted it because Elizabeth Warren fed him into a wood chipper. Yeah. So now Bloomberg is trying to influence the election, but remember, this isn't on the level. This isn't just advertising money. This is a specific inducement to a specific segment of voters to get them to vote a certain way, and I think it could be a crime.
I wonder if he has enough money to get his appearance on that debate stage expunged for all time, but we'll find that out, I'm sure, later. You proposed yesterday that Murkowski and Collins, the two, well, I guess you would call them the Hamlet sisters of the Senate, who just really don't like being Republicans, yet they take Republican money and they have an R next to their names. And I want to credit you. When you said the party should just simply throw them the hell out, I thought that was just a terrific idea. What was the reaction to your proposal?
Well, I don't know that Leader McConnell takes his P's and Q's from me, but I think that if we want to be a successful, enduring movement, the type of movement that I write about in my book Firebrand, we actually have to have people who are willing to confront their duties, not reject them. And it's my view that if a senator is going to reject their duty, then their voters ought to reject them. And I'm sick and tired of President Trump's voters being taken for granted. And I think in Alaska and Maine and elsewhere, if someone's not willing to do their job, well, maybe the voters ought to withhold their vote if a senator withholds theirs. And I don't think that senators who are unwilling to do their duty should be rewarded with political funds, should be rewarded with committee chairmanships, or any other prized position in the leadership. If we did that, by the way, Lou, it wouldn't just have a positive effect now, it would set a standard going forward where during the second term of this president, we will actually back him and get stuff done. I'm so frustrated that when we had unified control of the government, we followed Paul Ryan off a cliff and didn't get immigration done, didn't get entitlement reform done, a lot of the things that the president wanted to see happen. And so now I think we've got to set the standard so that going forward we can achieve the full potential of this presidency.
And get President Trump reelected, I believe, is the implicit thought there. The book is Firebrand by Congressman Matt Gaetz. We recommend it, as I said to you, highly. Congressman, always good to see you. Come back soon.